pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call, please, Sue.
Alderman Tom Couch. Alderwoman Shauna Zerwin is absent. Alderman John Stubbe.
Here.
Alderman Mike Jokers.
Here.
Alderman Don Stubbe.
Here.
Alderman Teddy Ross.
Here.
Alderman Carl Oakenhoose.
Here.
Alderwoman Linda Burnfield. Here. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Before we approve the agenda, there is, would like to add something, a street closure that came up after the thing was up, after the agenda was out, but it's got to do with the French Festival closings, and well, we got for street closures for the French Festival, and we just need to add Jefferson between Main Street and Valley Street, starting Friday morning through Monday morning. They want to close that, just that little bitty 100 yards of street right there, so anyway.
Another thing, Mayor, can we pull item number 3923 tonight? Since our administrator's not here and all the concerns out on Market Street, I'd like to pull it until we get the engineer in and figure out what they're going to do with that fiasco down there.
That's up to you. Would we table that at the time it comes up, or take it off the agenda now?
Either, you can go either way. You need a motion to table or a motion to remove from the agenda. Either one of them will get you to the same spot.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to remove. I'll second.
All in favor to take bill number 3923 off of the agenda?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And then somebody want to,
So moved with the French Festival street closure.
Second.
all right, all in favor of the agenda as amended?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. I can go through Martin's report a little bit. You all have a copy of it. The signs have been ordered, and it looks like they may start putting them up next week, the directional signs. You can see there we've received some proposals for the website. Not real happy with any of them, so we're still looking and investigating other ways to pull that thing off. Talking to some other people. Obviously, they've been, Martin's had contact with the engineers and the people doing the construction on the sidewalks for the state route to schools, and also the drainage on Market Street. The sidewalks are, I don't know, would you say they're probably 90% finished? I mean, that project's pretty close. I think Market Street's about the only, other than the corners in certain places, the sidewalks are pretty well finished. Martin attended a work step seminar, I think at the invitation of Linda, and he was real impressed with the information that was given there, and is going to change some of the wanting to change some of the city policies as far as returning to work goes when somebody has an injury. He was very impressed with that seminar. Met with the property owners regarding the Porter Street easements. We do have all of the easements are now signed. We're still waiting on some of the drainage ditch easements, but that's not going to hold up the Porter Street project. Bear is finishing up the final drawings. We should be able to bid them within the next couple weeks, and maybe by the end of May or so, being able to start on that project. Yesterday afternoon was the second meeting of the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee meeting. really went over some more detailed type of survey questions to try to get get good feedback from the citizens when they go out with a survey of how to structure it and some of the questions that need to be on it. There was an altered on 6th Street on the sidewalk on the safe routes to school. There was part of the sidewalk, part of the contract called for just, I believe, that corner to be replaced for handicap, but the sidewalk going back about 10 feet was, I think it was really heaved because of some tree roots, so gave them the okay to actually replace an extra 10 feet or so of that to make it fit better.
Is that going to be all replaced? That's leave bring that? Is that, it could be more than 10 feet, that's what I'm wondering.
He just mentioned to me when we went over this, it was about 10 feet, but I know I'm not sure.
Anything that's needing to be replaced will be replaced.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think the price that CE had given us on replacing the extra sidewalk was really reasonable, and, you know, we'll do it right if we're gonna do it. Met with the new owners on the hotel regarding the TIF. Everything seems to be going okay there. And we hired Chelsea Langen-Eckert as a part-time utility billing clerk. She'll be working from 10 to 2. Normally, she'll be working from 10 to 2 daily, or when she's needed, or she can be pretty flexible in her hours. Somebody from the Archdiocese was down this week and looked at the property out in Progress Parkway, and they're going to continue to have some further meetings. It sounds like that thing's going pretty good, and they're going to determine really where they would really want the road and those things, and then get back to us. But it sounds like that project, and they're so far real agreeable to what our plans are for over there. And met with engineers, reviewed with engineers regarding the St. Mary and the Seraphim Street water lines. They are interviewing them along with Steve and I guess Terry as far as the qualifications to get that water line replaced, which is basically all of St. Mary's Road and most of Seraphim Street, which is in the budget, and probably have a recommendation by the next meeting as far as an engineer to pick for that project. So it's about all that I know. Yep.
We got a request out for a city engineer.
We've, not officially, no. I mean, we were just doing it project by project. That's something we certainly could discuss. We haven't specifically had a city engineer since Taylor, and then shortly after that, just for a little while, the guys down in Cape. So, but for now, we've just been going from project to project. It's might be something we want to talk about and consider.
I saw something in the paper, I thought.
That was advertising for an engineer, I believe, for the trail, wasn't
Okay.
to keep that project going, to be able to meet some of the timelines and some of the deadlines. So, any other questions I can try to answer? Okay, then we'll go right into the staff reports. Stephanie, you're first up.
In front of you have a couple of reports. I recently hired Megan Hook to work at the Welcome Center. She has computer skills, and she's been helping me out a lot, so I've been able to get to catch up on February and March, so that way you have the most up-to-date information regarding where we are at. Just a quick overview on the fiscal year 2013 co-op grant. We have completed that. Now we're just waiting for all of the numbers to come in. And I have already started advertising for the fiscal year 14 grant. The numbers for February and March, we were down, but we also had a lot of bad weather. And last year was unseasonably warm. March was the first month where we didn't have numbers consistent with what we had previously, but March was a lot of snow, several major snows that occurred. All of the expenses are staying. The web report, we're still continuing to see the sharp increase in visitors. That is the call to action for all of our advertising is to go to the website, so it's good to see that this is working. Our numbers are rising. And then there's also attached to the March, the financial reports that show information about individual passports are started. We started selling those again on April 1st. And the downtown shop tax receipts are up 15.5% for the calendar year. And then the restaurants are down, but we had one restaurant close in December, and then another restaurant that has been mostly closed and is now working out of the Sandbar. So we have the Tourism Advisory Council, we discussed it the other day, and we're going to take the 8 restaurants down to 6 for the downtown area. So that way we can have a more apples to apples comparison. Does anyone have any questions?
Did you remove, or somebody remove the display cases down there at the tourist information center?
No, we still have all the display cases up. Some are empty. We're waiting for the stores to come in and put their merchandise.
But you had, before they had what, other stuff, the antique history stuff?
When I came in, all of the display cases, there's one for each house of the historic homes, and they have their set. There was one that only had a map of the river and just like little cardboard paper, demarcating places on. It wasn't very impressive. So I asked the Art Guild to come in and put some information in there about the art history of St. Genevieve's with the art colony. And then all the other ones, it focuses on downtown shops, the art community, restaurants, wineries. And we try to rotate those displays. But no. I'm wanting to get lighting in them, but other than that, there haven't been any.
Or the lights in the mountain?
Originally, there were lights, but when they rearranged the display or the inside of the Welcome Center, they ripped out all the wiring. So I've had Chip come down, or Chip sent someone down to take a look at it, and I'm going to have someone else come in and give me suggestions of what we can put in there that would be safe for any artwork. It wouldn't fade and be low energy and low heat.
Anybody else? Okay, thanks, Steph.
Thank you.
Dave?
Good evening.
Oh, okay.
Got my report in front of you. Just been trying to stay busy. We've been real busy trying to keep up with the mowing last week, and then I know Martin's not here, but he said something about ripping out sidewalks, where them trees are lifting up, and that's on my schedule for next week. But I want to talk to you all about that before we put these ginkgo trees in there. That's why I asked Darren to come, because he knows more about trees than I do. But these ginkgo trees, from what we've been reading, they'll get 65, 75 foot tall and 20 foot wide. It takes forever for them to grow. That one down in front of the, used to be Eddie Siebert's Tavern on Washington and Main, it's 13 years old and it's only 5 feet tall. So that's why I want to talk to you guys before I start on this next week and plant trees. That, what do you want? Because is that what you want? Because they're going to look like a stick for years.
Who told you to put ginkgo trees in?
Martin. I'm sorry, I got a cold. Now, if you'd like Darren to explain about some different kind of trees, that's why I got him here, because he's with contact with the extension office quite a bit. Because we was also told to make a 4x4 hole, and if we do that, like down by the post office, it's only going to leave a 2 foot sidewalk. and the ADA minimum's 3 foot, so. That's why I wanted to talk that's why I put it off like, well, I didn't wait just for that, but I mean, the weather was crazy, but I wanted to talk to you guys about it, because like I said, we only got 2 foot walk, what's gonna happen, you know?
Dave, do they make grates that are any size?
Well, I'm sure you can get any size, but I have an idea on that. Gary went to Branson the other week, and he said what they did, they just put like a 2x4 frame around it, and they lowered it down and put all that composite decking on top of it. That way water could still run in, and you know, instead, because them plastic grates that were there, we ripped most of them out because they folded up, and that was a trip hazard.
Yeah, the ones on Main Street are pretty nice. Those were the steel ones.
Yeah.
Those are pretty decent.
Yeah.
But yeah, the plastic ones, unless they're supported right, they're not.
Yeah. Actually, I welded a nut onto anchors and tried to screw them down to hold them down. It still didn't work. So
Okay.
worked for a while, but I guess the sun gets to it.
When are you scheduled to put them in?
Well, I was going to start Monday on it. So
And the park board has approved them, or?
I think that'd be you guys. Yeah.
Okay.
You want Darren to explain a little bit about some trees, or
Sure.
I don't think we can put it off any longer because,
I mean,
you know.
you can certainly get things torn out and put back together and without planting the trees, you know, immediately. If them come another week or so later, that's okay. But, you know, I know we went through quite an extensive conversation on the trees when we did Main Street. I don't know how many of those trees, now certainly those were in bigger pots or bigger holes. What's the possibility, and maybe that's what he's gonna say, using some of the same kind of trees we used on Main Street? Because I think we had pretty good success with them living, and I don't know how
Well, we got problems with those ones on Main Street. Those are American Yellowwood, and Sue has some copies of trees there. What happens with those trees is they start to fork off, and during the windstorm, they'll split right straight down the middle. Down by Lulu's shop, somebody put a bolt through one of those trees because it was splitting down the middle. So those trees there's no real good sidewalk tree at all. The ones I've been told would be the best is a 3-flower maple tree. It's kind of a new tree that they crossbred with our trees. Over in Illinois I'm trying to think. There's a city over in Illinois, I was told, that has these trees that they're not having a problem with them. Carbondale, I think, has them in. And they're about the best tree you can have. There's also down there the Kentucky coffee trees. But these trees grow real fast and they grow real big too. And they produce pods, seed pods. And the reason they call them a coffee tree is because you roast these pods and you can make coffee. But they are poisonous if you don't roast them. If some kid would come down there, pick open them and start eating them, they are very toxic.
Darren, have you talked to anybody at the extension office about what type of trees work best in our application?
I talked to several different people, extension, foresters, and they kind of said this 3-flower maple would be the best probably. But again, there's no tree that that you won't have to tear out after it gets so big.
Dave, I know you're asking us what we think. I don't know a lick about trees. I think that maybe we should get some type of written assessment from the extension office. It's one of the services that they would provide, and you know, kind of go from there. Sounds like you've got that started, but
well, I got the list of the trees that they recommend to put there already, and like it's a 3-flower maple, the Kentucky coffee tree, and American Yellowwood's main ones.
And that's the American Yellowwood is what we have.
Yes, we have
Lost
some
a little
of them.
credibility then, didn't they?
There's several different trees down on Main Street, several
Okay.
different types.
But also a lot of the problem was when they planted them other trees, they didn't take the wire basket off around the ball.
And that's what
so it
caused
just made the root come up instead of even trying to go down. I know the soil's not that great, but it didn't have a chance to go down, it was coming up. And the thing is too, Mayor, like you said, leave the hole open, but I need to know how big of a hole to actually make because of, depends on what kind of tree you get, and how big the wad is on it. So.
I know we, again, on Main, if I remember right, on Wayne Street, we did a lot of studying. I think it came from the extension office of how to prepare the hole to plant the things in, and I don't know, and those were 4x4 or 6x6.
I think they're 4x4s.
I know I don't know how many, and I understand this situation you got in some of the sidewalks downtown where you don't have that much room. I don't know how deep you can go and prepare the holes in somewhat the same way, because I think the way those were prepared, it was supposed to get the roots going down and not coming back
I
up.
think we could get away with it if we went with that, lowered that 4x4 a little bit and put, like, I'd like to put cedar on top of it. Then you'd still have, part of that sidewalk, it'd be the wood, but at least they could still travel on it.
Sure.
Then we can make the 4x4 hole, but if we don't go that route, we order metal grates and stuff, metal grates are gonna be expensive, but
Yeah.
what's the plastic, I suggest we don't go back with that.
No, I agree. I don't think the plastic grates, I'm not a big fan of those either. I either go with the good metal ones or the other suggestion with the composite doesn't sound like a bad idea.
Well, the metal grates, I checked into those, and they're like $700 to $800 a piece for one.
And how many are we talking about doing right now?
Right now, there's, 3, there's 2 in front of the extension and 1 in front of the post office, but actually there's like 17 altogether.
Mm-hmm.
17 that you have plans of doing now? I mean, or
No,
doing?
well, that's up to you if you give me the money.
Oh, okay. I mean, on the immediate list of the ones that we've really got the issues with
The,
the
in front of the
even.
extension office and then in front of the post office, the 2 that Martin said, right away, so.
Okay.
But the other ones are gonna have to be addressed,
Good opportunity for this discussion to take place with Martin and
Yeah.
let him make a proposal to us what type of trees. I think the female ginkgo biloba tree emits a fruit
Yes.
with a foul odor
Mhm.
and is slippery. We might want to not get any female ginkgo biloba trees on the streets.
I would like to suggest you have a work session and the board walks the sidewalks and look at them,
Are we dead set on putting trees back
That's what I was
there?
saying, maybe we ought to
Are-
look into
are we
flowers
looking
or
into-
bushes or something.
3-foot-tall flower pot full of stuff.
Yeah, the urn flower pots.
You never have to replace the
Whatever it
sidewalks
is.
again.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Well,
No.
Well, that's one thing, a lot of towns are
Going
moving away
something
from
else.
trees because of the cost. They tear up the sidewalks,
Plus the fact you have to keep
grates
replacing
cost a
them.
lot of money, trees, the maintenance.
we gotta consider also that you got power lines above most of them trees. So you can't get a tree that grows 65 to 75 foot tall and.
And then when it does
I'm
get
sure
a bit
people would
flat,
like
you
to
take it
see
out,
trees,
remove
it.
but
Well, I don't know how many of you were around at that
I
time
wasn't
either.
around.
Yeah.
When we did Main Street and the suggestion came up that we put pots instead of trees and and all the Main Street showed up and said, please don't do that.
Why is that?
They weren't trees.
Maybe it's seeing what happened down, they might change their mind too.
Well, I don't know so far we've had luck on Main Street, haven't we?
Well,
Now, it's not that, obviously not that old
It's
as
not
what
that
the rest
old,
of
no.
the other sidewalks are, but.
We're 25 years from now, what's going to, well, I ain't gonna worry about it.
Mayor, Martin's gonna be out of town the next week and a half, ain't that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, getting any input from him unless we call him on the phone.
he said
We're
he's
not gonna get
available
it.
for
Well, yeah,
testing,
but
to sell, or.
You don't have to plant the trees now, you just have to do other work, is that right?
Well, like I said, if we go with the composite, then I would go ahead and make a 4x4 hole. But like I say, if you go with the ginkgo's only got waddling about like that, so I don't need a 4x4, 5-foot deep hole either, so that would make a difference, so.
Maybe we can have a conversation, we can give him a call and have a conversation with him tomorrow, Monday, and at least decide on the issues you got with the size of the holes where the sidewalk's not that wide, and kind of decide on what we want to put grate-wise or whatever back that way. So, see what he had in mind, if he had anything in mind in particular there.
What about the planting season, the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, can you still plant these trees?
We could still plant these trees because they're in containers right now. They don't have to go out and dig them up. They're container trees, so you just plant them and water them really good for the next couple of weeks, and they should be good.
It's all right with you all, I'll have a conversation with him and Dave and decide on.
Also asking about flowers or bushes versus trees.
Yeah, I think that's really up to you, Dave.
After seeing all the problems that we've had, I am more in favor of looking at something other than trees. Granted, I like the trees, I think they're beautiful, but if we're gonna have to keep replacing our sidewalks, and as our trees grow, we have to keep replacing them.
Or cut them out with power lines, and I see a lot of negatives.
There's a
on the
lot
trees.
of negatives to having trees.
And then also the roots get around the electric line that runs right through underneath the trees
I
with the
know.
street lights.
We've had so many issues with it. It's kind of like, we just keep doing the same problem over and over, and
Yeah. Been going on.
it's been going on.
Unless you went with something like a dwarf tree, but there again.
I think we
you
thought
still
we
have
had
roots,
some
so-
planted before, that the roots were supposed to go down and weren't supposed to go out.
Well, like they
Well,
said, there
we
was-
don't know. I mean,
You can't predict that.
you won't know how Main Street turns out for another 15 years,
Mhm.
whether we're gonna have the issue with it or not. And God, we spent 3 or 4 meetings talking about trees on Main Street.
I'm not really interested in spending 3 or 4 meetings talking about trees. I'd like to have a recommendation from the CA with thorough research, and let him do the legwork of talking to the business owners and the property owners. And
If he hasn't already.
Getting a little feedback. Well, he's not here, so we don't know.
All right,
It doesn't look like the first choice is a very good choice.
okay, we'll do that. Any other questions for Dave? Or Darren while he's up there?
Thank you.
All right, thanks. You have Mick's report in front of you.
Mr. Mayor, what is the policy on department heads giving reports? Some of the department heads are always here in person, and some we don't get to see very often.
We've never made
No, doesn't matter, just submit your report.
yeah, I mean, if it's your pleasure that you want to hear from them in person more often, we can sure.
No, there was just seemed to be a double standard, and I just wondered why that was. That some of these folks show up every time.
It's,
It's-
There's
I
no-
understand.
any questions? Yes, sir.
Which one is 7142 is now out of service?
That's the ladder
Ladder truck.
truck, homemade sport truck.
See here, the windows is already going bad in the east side of the fire station.
Yes.
That's just one big money pit out there.
Anything else on that? Eric?
Good evening.
Any questions for Eric?
Be this, school resource officer, they did that one other time. It's been many years ago.
I wasn't aware that they had done it.
Yeah.
Current
It was kind of
administration.
like a trial thing up there.
There was a time, and it's something that we're looking at again, and this is something that I would probably request a work session to discuss some of the details of. But there was a time that the federal government offered what they called a COPS grant, which would pay for the salary of a police officer for so many years. And a lot of schools utilized that, and a lot of departments utilized that at the time for school resource officers. That may have been where that came up. The funding has dried up considerably, but I think there are some avenues that are opening back up with recent events that have happened. So this is one that I think would be very, very cost effective for the city. And like I said, we'd probably be a little bit better off discussing that in a work session or closed session with personnel issues. It's the school resource officer itself would be a commissioned police officer that would be in uniform, some not in uniform, some. I think the school would like so many hours of college education, so that, you know, if they needed to leave the school resource officer alone with a class, you know, he would at least have a substitute license and they'd be covered legally. But it would be somebody there to provide security services, also do some type of educational services as far as putting on seatbelt safety, things like that for the school, drug awareness and things like that. And then also, it's just a really good resource for us and for the school as far as making good connections and good relationships with some of the students. There's a lot of information that goes around at schools, and once the students can get comfortable with somebody and feel like they can confide in somebody, you know, it can be really beneficial for everybody involved. Just being able to have somebody that's familiar and comfortable for the students to relate to, and I think it would ultimately improve the community relations with the police department as a whole. Just knowing that, you know, there's a police officer there that they relate to more on a personal level.
I think it was kind of like a trial period. I don't remember it was a funding issue, I think, at the end.
Yeah, I would imagine that was probably a COPS grant. There was a lot of 3-year employments, and then at the end of 3 years, if there was no money to retain the employee, then the position was pretty well done away. I would assume that was the case. This is the first that I'd heard that there was actually a trial before that. This is one that, like I said, it's so preliminary, I hate to even speculate where it's going to fall, but the propositions that I've heard so far are going to be, I think, very, very affordable for the city.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Anything else? Thanks. And Steve's also here.
Mayor, thank you, Board.
Steve, how many more meters we have? Do you, any idea?
As far as switching out the radio reads, about 140.
Okay.
The ones we're into changing now, they're requiring more work. There's no shut-offs, there's galvanized lines. It's not just a simple meter change at this point anymore. It's actually, you know, a lot of them are getting their yards dug up, new setters and new pits, and moving ones out of basements also.
So obviously those take a lot more time.
Yeah, instead of 10 or 15 a day, you can get 2.
Okay.
So.
Did you happen to check on that one house on Westwood Drive where the meter's sinking?
I didn't see a report on that.
Check and meet them all, we'll go up
Okay. With the Porter Street project coming up, the water department's had, we're renting a piece of equipment from Vermeer Midwest. It's a Vactron. We also use it to clean out our lift stations. And we're going to be potholing the utilities. There's 2 lines on Porter Street. One's a 6-inch, one's a 2-inch. We're going to abandon the 2-inch line and connect the services to the 6-inch. We've had a few leaks on that 2-inch line over the past couple of years. And instead of digging up the whole street, we can actually use the machine to pothole down and visually see the connection on the 2-inch or the 6-inch for each line. And
Right.
that'll be started next week.
So right now, you don't know which one's connected to which?
Right. The lines are next to each other and the locator won't decipher. The lines are too close.
Okay.
What's the impact on traffic for that?
We'll be down to one lane. It will be put on the radio. Got to contact them tomorrow. So, and the intermittent times next week, it will be down to one lane, if not closed. We have to assess it a little better.
And you're actually going to fix it or just find out where they're at and fix it when the street's torn up? Or
No,
you-
we'll do the work as we go along.
Okay,
I think there's only 7 connections that are in question at this time.
okay. Anything else for Steve? All right, thanks. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Any committee reports? Okay, just to, while we're on that, is it a good time as any? I kind of went through everybody's request and tried to accommodate them as much as I could, but I'll just go through it now. Here's what I came up with, and if anybody has a real problem with it, just see me later, and maybe we can do some other switching. But planning and zoning, Buck, I came up with you for that one. Landmarks, Shauna. The park, Carl, if you would. Channel 7, Linda. Tourism, Tom. Jurdafet, John. Annexing Committee, Teddy. Band, Linda. There's really no fun for progress anymore. So Housing Authority, Donnie. And the chamber, Tom, the one we didn't have on here was a chamber, and Tom, I know you're already on one of those, a chamber commission, or a chamber committee, if you could take that one too.
Okay.
I know some of those meetings are during the day, and if you can't, maybe find somebody else as an alternate.
It's usually all right for me.
Okay. Okay. I'll get a list out. I'll get Pam to get a list out to everybody. So, thank you. All right, let's go on to the minutes, approving the minutes from the regular meeting of April the 11th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Financial reports for March.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, resolution 2013-19, a resolution of the City of St. Genevieve, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to execute a property maintenance agreement with Lance and Destiny Hunsley.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Resolution 2013, number 20, a resolution of the City of St. Genevieve, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to execute a property maintenance agreement with Glenn and Terry Roth.
Motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And resolution 2013-21, a resolution reappointing Robert Mueller to the St. Genevieve Tourism Advisory Council.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Old business, bill number 3919, second reading.
An ordinance approving a budget amendment to the City of St. Genevieve fiscal year 2013 budget relating to the rural fire fund number 60.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Alderwoman Linda Broomfield.
Yes.
Alderman Teddy Ross.
Yes.
Alderman Carl Oakenfoos.
Yes.
Alderman Donnie Stupi.
Yes.
Alderman Mike Jokers.
Yes.
Alderman John Stupi. Alderman Tom Couch.
Yes.
We have seven yes votes, 1 absent. Bill number 3919 now becomes ordinance number 3857.
Thank you. Bill number 3920, second reading.
An ordinance approving a budget amendment to the City of St. Genevieve fiscal year 2013 budget relating to the general fund number 10, department number 16, police.
Move approval.
Teddy. Yeah. Roll call.
Alderman John Stupi.
Yes.
Alderman Tom Couch.
Yes.
Alderman Mike Jokers.
Yes.
Alderman Donnie Stupi.
Yes.
Alderwoman Linda Broomfield. Yes. Alderman Teddy Ross.
Yes.
Alderman Carl Oakenfuss.
Yes.
We have 7 yes votes, 1 absent. Bill number 3920 now becomes ordinance number 3858.
Thank you. Bill number 3921, second reading.
An ordinance approving a budget amendment to the City of St. Genevieve fiscal year 2013 budget relating to the general fund number 10, department number 16, police.
Welcome, Linda. Roll call.
Alderman Carl Oakenfuss.
Yes.
Alderman Donnie Stupi.
Yes.
Alderman Mike Jokers.
Yes.
Alderman John Stupi.
No, it was not in the budget.
Alderman Tom Couch.
Yes.
Alderman Teddy Ross.
Yes.
Alderwoman Linda Broomfield. We have 6 yes votes, 1 no, 1 absent. Bill number 3921 now becomes ordinance number 3859.
Thank you. Bill number 3922, second reading.
An ordinance approving a budget amendment to the City of St. Genevieve fiscal year 2013 budget relating to the general fund number 10, department number 16, police.
Approval.
Roll call.
Alderman John Stupi.
Yes.
Alderman Tom Couch.
Yes.
Alderman Mike Jokers.
Yes.
Alderman Donnie Stupi.
Yes.
Alderman Teddy Ross.
Yes.
Alderwoman Linda Broomfield. Alderman Carl Oakenfuss.
Yes.
7 yes votes, 1 absent. Bill number 3922 now becomes ordinance number 3860.
Thank you. New business, bill number 3924, first reading.
An ordinance creating a pedestrian crossing at 116 South Main Street.
This is at the Linden House to the Bolduc House, yes.
Yeah, I guess Martin talked to them and they were agreeing, I just agreed.
I take
about
it that,
signage and everything.
yeah, I guess so. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, bill number 3925, first reading.
An ordinance creating a building stabilization and rehabilitation grant loan program, approving the form of program applications and authorizing the distribution of a request for application, all in conjunction with the redevelopment plan for the downtown St. Genevieve Tax Increment Financing District.
Move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Public comments. Anyone like to address the board? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name's Marcia Akins. I have a house at 627 Market. And I don't know who's overseeing the sidewalk and the water drainage lines down there, but I've called City Hall, I don't know how many times. I've had the city administrator down there, I've had Brenda down there, had Dave Pinkley even down there. I have I'm gonna call it Frank's building side. He used to have his law firm on the other side of me. That side is, the sidewalk's there now. There's supposed to have been a drain put there because I have a lot of water drainage problems off Bosler Hill. There's supposed to have been a drain put there under the sidewalk to drain water. When I called, they came down with the plans and said, okay, because there used to be a drain there too, right out in the street that drained the water. When the flood of '93 came, the sandbags was put across the sidewalk there, and it collapsed the the vein in the street there and collapsed the sidewalk and then collapsed the pipe that was running under the sidewalk to drain the water out to the street. They never came back to fix it after flood in 93. So when they put this new one in, they said they were going to put a half pipe there so the water would drain on that side. They laid the sidewalks and everything. They come back. I had the mayor down there and I had the engineer down there. And they said, yeah, they'll put me a drain there. Well, after they got all done and everything, the city administrator walks down there and he said, well, Marcia, because I had a problem with my sidewalk. They took my third step out. Then one company said they're going to put the concrete in. The other one said, the sidewalk people said, no, we're not laying the concrete. We didn't cut your walkway. So anyhow, it got fixed. And Martin comes down there and he said, want to know how I like my sidewalk? I said, well, I liked it because I didn't have to have a step up. I have like a slant now. And but I said, one thing I don't like, I don't have my drain. So how's the water going to drain? And his words was, because now the city, my water meter is setting below it, so there's no place for the water. So when I get flash flooding there, it gets underwater too. So the meter will stay full of water too. So his words to me was on day before yesterday was, don't say anything until after they're all gone. I'll get my crew in and we'll tap into the drainage. I said, oh, no, we ain't. No way. On the other side of my driveway is a 4-foot. In the flood of 93, someone came out from the city. They filled it full of dirt. There's a 4 or 5 foot drain right there by my driveway, the sidewalk, and next to me there. We have, along both properties, there's a drainage. That water drained in that open area, down under a pipe, and it went out underneath the sidewalk and into the street into a drain. When I was concerned about it, I called city administrator. He brought the plans down. He said, yes, there's a good structure there. And I said, well, what are we going to do about it? It will be fixed. It's not fixed, and it's not going to be fixed. The sidewalk is higher than the drain. That they want to put a V in there. Water can't jump it. The sidewalk's still higher than the V's going to be. And they wanted to put a grade over the top of that. Dave Pinkley, I wish he was still here, because he said a while ago to me, I don't see it working either. So water can't jump those sidewalks. And I'm being lied to, one right after another, by the city administrator and by this Corps of Engineer. I don't like it. My words are falling on deaf ears, and I'm going to have the drainage problem. And for him to say that wait until they're all gone and he'll get his crew in there, it is not going to fall back on the city, the taxpayers, or the property owners that has drainage problems. It's not going to do it. It's going to get fixed right and fixed now. I don't even know who's managing it down there or overseeing it. I'm told it's a city administrator. He tells Dave Pinkley to oversee it. Dave Pinkley comes down there because I'm concerned about my 5-foot drainage ditch. It should have been cleaned out after the flood in '93, and it was never done. I asked the guy that was working the backhoe about it. He told me that the city has ordered not to tap into the drain, into the drain canal. I want to know what city official or what person gave that order for Dave to tell me. That was supposed to have been a half pipe. Dave comes down there and says they're going to put a half pipe in it, Marcia. City administrator comes down and he tells me, he says, no, there's going to be a grade. The engineer comes down and says it's going to be a grade. And Dave said, that's the first I've heard about being a grade. I thought it was going to be an open pipe.
Well,
So every word I have said, everything that I have been told, I've been lied to. Now, if the city administrator, whatever we're paying him, is not gonna start overseeing these projects that's being done,
I think we're paying an engineer to probably oversee that. I think
well,
that's
we
part
need
of
to get
Taylor's
another
job.
engineer overseeing that too.
Well, we will make sure that your drainage is at least as good as what it was, if not better than what it was before the project started. You know,
It's already started. They
Well-
won't be but a few days or so, they'll be ready to put the V in.
Well,
And the sidewalk is already ran. The city, water meter is setting below the sidewalk. I have no drain on that side. So I'm being lied to, one right after another. One's lying to my face, then the other one comes down and lies.
well, we'll get it sorted out and get it fixed to where that you're not in any, that you're not gonna have any drainage problem. That certainly wasn't the intent
Well,
of the
there was
project.
another thing. In the old drainage off your houses was the big round pipes. Well, I redid ours and they go down into the ground. They went straight out. I have two of them. They went straight out and I put our driveway on top of it. But they go straight out and they even went into the old system. And he dug both of them up. They were sticking up in the air. And by the time I got in the house and got my camera and got back out, he hurried up and covered it up with the rock. So they're not gonna drain either. And when I put the new drain pipes in from them, they're supposed to fit down. So they're waiting for the city to get done, or for all this work to get done, so they can come back out and put my pipes down in the ground again. Because right now, they're only running on my driveway.
Marshall, what's your address?
627 Market.
Right next to Frank's old
Oh, office, uh-huh. In the house, but next door to me, they did the same thing to his.
There's about 6 houses up through there that's affected. I think they need to stop on it until they figure out what's fully going on.
I think there should be a stop order on that area on Market Street until somebody can decide exactly what's gonna be done there, because it's not gonna work, I'm telling you guys. And then for Martin to come down there and say, oh, I see what you're talking about now. You should have been seeing what I was talking about before it was done. And then tell me, wait until all these guys are gone and we'll take care of it?
Well,
I don't like
I
that.
know a little bit about that one, is that the engineer, and without seeing it, and believe me, I'm no engineer, was that they thought they were gonna landscape it where it would come across a sidewalk. If that wasn't gonna work, they were gonna come back and put that drain in. I think that's the way it was
See,
explained.
they never even said that to me when he was down there.
Because
Not a
I
word.
know he addressed that with the engineer, and he went over that with me. That's the only one that he specifically has gone over with me as far as that one goes. I know he mentioned about cutting one in if it had to be done, but
Yeah.
I think the engineer
Well,
told
see, when the
him,
flood of 93 come in down there and we sandbagged, there was a lot of, like Mr. Ross lived next door to us at the time. He didn't want water in his basement, which is his house now. So he goes out there and he puts tar over the top of the grate. So then, when the city come in, then and after the flood, and they repaved that road, it all got covered up with blacktop then. So there's drains there that got covered up in the flood of 93 and never opened back up. A lot of them on that street. I'm talking up to 8th Street. There was a lot of them that was covered up that
well,
was never opened back up.
we hope, at least when we hire an engineer, that they're supposed to take into consideration the drainage that's coming off of that hill, coming all the way down through the yards and into the street. I mean, that's what we pay them for, and that's what their job to do, is to figure out how they're gonna get rid of the water.
It's not, the way they got it figured, it's not gonna work. and I don't want to
Dammed
see.
up all the way up through there.
Mm-hmm.
I asked in the beginning to meet with the engineer and do the whole walkthrough. I was denied. Now you got a big mess on your hands, all I can tell you, because a lot of it's got to be dug back out and start
yeah.
all over now.
Oh, yeah. So it needs to be stopped before it gets any farther than what it is.
Is that based on your experience or your?
I'll take you down there after the meeting, I'll
No,
show you.
I'm just telling you that you're telling, it's gonna have to be all dug out and everything.
You're gonna
based
have
on
to
what?
tie them drains in, all that coming off of
Mhm.
like Jefferson up there.
Bosler Hill.
All them ditches, they eliminated. They got them dammed now. And people's, it's just gonna back up in their
I
basements.
was out there the other night when it was raining, and I've got a hole dug on the left side of me because there's no drain there, and it was standing full of water. I didn't want it over my driveway underneath my house and in my back room again. I eliminated 2 rooms on my house because of it, the drainage.
But it is, and again, I know the project's not done, and how much of the draining issue can be taken care of with landscaping? I can't imagine.
Yeah,
that.
None.
None.
Can't be. Buffalo's down there, you can't be. There's none.
There's none that can be done with landscaping
Sounds
at
like
all.
Sounds like we need to get the engineer and have a meeting with the engineer right there at those properties and walk through it. And get some answers from the engineer.
I think so too, because I'm being told, well, we're having a meeting up here every morning, and when I call, he'll send Dave, or, I don't think it's Dave's place to say yes or no to anything. Dave is appointed by the city, or through the city. I don't think that should give him a right to make a major decision, and I
Well,
don't think the
that's
administrator should give him that.
That's what we're paying the engineer for.
Yeah, exactly right.
So, okay.
Well, I did talk to Martin this morning on the phone, and after being there last night, and I told him what I had learned, and he said he was gonna call the engineer right then and tell him he wanted it fixed and fixed right, so.
All right.
I don't know where that.
Well, we'd all be upset if it was our property.
Oh, yeah, I saw it.
And we need to make
That's
sure
right.
we don't end up with a change order for them to fix,
Right.
for the engineer.
Should be
Somebody's
up to
gonna
the
have to pay
engineer.
the engineer to fix it for good.
Right, I don't wanna see that fall on the property owner, and I don't wanna see that fall on the city to pay for something that's, so I don't see where any money should even be paid to these until it's fixed and fixed right down there for everyone in concern.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I did talk to Steve about the water meter being submerged for lengthy periods, and he talked like it didn't hurt him, so, is that right, Steve?
Yeah, those meters are designed to be completely submerged in water in any direction. They won't be affected at all.
Mayor, I got, what is the regulations on your gutters running into storm sewer?
I don't,
I mean, like, Rick, Mr. Wallamax, they chopped his off, he didn't even know what the pipes were, till I went down there last night. I can tell you what them pipes were. They're your gutter pipes they cut off and eliminated.
They've
He
always,
got real fancy,
they've always
somebody
been
years
there.
ago. They're
Always.
chopped off now, and he's got it concreted, they're concreted in nice, and they're gonna go nowhere.
I don't know what the current building
I don't
codes
know,
call
but-
for
I mean, somebody
exactly.
should
I
have
don't know
looked
if
into
you
that when they
run
cut through.
As far as storm sewers, I wouldn't see an issue with gutter pipes going in the storm sewer.
They're going in there to help some of the water off of
Yeah.
Absolutely. If
flooding
they don't
back
go in
there.
there, they're going into the street.
They're gonna
and
get
it's
in the
gonna
storm
into
sewer
storm
anyway.
sewer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yours and Rick's is cut off.
Mhm.
That
Yeah, I
along
saw
with
that.
the
Yeah.
ditches.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
This is Marcia's neighbor.
Yeah, well,
I don't know if you need to.
She covered pretty well.
Okay.
Thank you, Rick.
I've got the other house next door, it's on the other side of her, and so I was kind of concerned.
Oh, you got Frank's going?
Or your gutters going to,
No, we took those out because it was before, it was going in the sewer. So we took those out, so we didn't have any of that house going into the sewer or stormwater.
yours are actually going into the
Just
sewers
out-
or the
not in
storms?
yard, just out of the yard.
Okay.
So,
But luckily your house is a little elevated up.
Actually, no, it's not.
Really?
No.
You get-
Yeah, I'm in the floodplain, she's not in the floodplain, so if you look at the elevation, actually, she's higher than
I'm talking about the yard still versus.
No, I know, I pay flood insurance, she doesn't, so I do know the elevation, so.
Okay. We'll go, if there's nobody else? Okay. Dang, somebody beat you.
I do have one more thing
Yes,
there.
ma'am.
I talked to a lot of the residents down there that had small children about the dust. I've had 2 washdowns in front of my house for asthma problems. Rick's wife informed me yesterday their child has been sick for 3 weeks with asthma. And the dust is still a problem up on the other end now that they're all up there. There was a truck that dropped a bunch of rock and it caused a dust storm cloud up there. So I believe that they need to be washed down up there, or street machine used up there or something. Because you got residents and little kids are all up there being sick by all this dust.
Okay.
And I've had asthma attacks, and my sister come down to help me move and unpack some stuff, and she had to go home. She had to go home. She couldn't stay here because of her asthma so bad that, and it was lucky that I had her an extra breathing machine so she could get a breathing treatment that night. So, I mean, I called at 4 in the morning and got them out there, but I had all my screens and windows clean, and I had called because we couldn't breathe. And police department said, well, you got the windows up? And I said, no, they're down. But I said, you shine a flashlight and nobody will be able to see in them. That's for sure, for all the dust. So, and then I had to call them again, 22nd, I believe it was, again to do a wash down. But, I mean, consider on these projects the wealth of the public on these wash downs and stuff that needs to be taken care of for the asthma and upper respiratory patients. Okay, thank you very much.
Mayor, actually, it's kind of dusty down there tonight, ain't it?
Yes.
Coming
yes.
through there, I noticed that.
Mhm.
So I don't know if they could maybe do something small for the weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, we got other business. We got street closure for the master gardeners.
Move to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And street closure for the French Festival.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And request for the CVB for a temporary liquor license.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Mayor, under this board and Alderman Communications, would that fall under, or should that be another business about stop signs? I've been approached by at least 3 people, stop signs down there on St. Mary's Road by the Marina Road, why they are still there, and also as you leave here on North Gabourey, as you head toward the railroad tracks, the 2 stop signs on Gabourey there, what purpose are they serving?
Second Street?
Second and third. Well, no, on Gabourey here, but when you get to the corner, when you leave here and go on Gabourey toward the railroad tracks,
Yeah.
there's 2 stop signs that you have to stop
Oh,
at.
you mean right there at Third?
Second and third,
Second also?
yeah. Just seemed like they're kind of silly to be heading toward the railroad tracks and have 2 stop signs there.
What is the major inconvenience of that? As opposed
Why are they
to,
there? What purpose are they serving?
Somebody's got to stop in one direction or
Yeah,
the other.
they've been put there.
No.
One of those is,
I'm not understanding what you're talking
I think the concern was with the building being right there on the corner on Second Street, there was traffic going through and it was too much of a hazard because you almost have to pull out beyond that building to see if traffic was coming. I don't know that that would affect both lanes of traffic, but it was certainly asked for the, I guess it'd be westbound traffic off of Gabourey coming from Main Street up. There was just a concern about the traffic being able, and the same is true, but more so with shrubbery at 3rd Street. So it was just an attempt to slow down the traffic some for the traffic trying to pull off of Second and off of Third. So
Well-
there again, I don't know that that would necessarily need to be both lanes of traffic, but that was the intent.
It's kind of hard to turn if you're coming toward City Hall with the car stopped on Gabourey there. You almost have to let that car go through Gabourey and then make your turn. Just seems kind of waste of stop signs there. So I
Well,
just
I-
brought it up for discussions.
I think making the right turn as you're heading west, trying to make the right turn onto Second or Third Street is going to be cumbersome, whether there's a stop sign there
No,
or
coming off
not.
Second and Third to turn on Gabourey. You're trying to turn and you got a car
Oh, I
this
see.
way and.
I see, yeah, and there again, I think that the westbound traffic would probably still need to be restricted there. I don't know that that necessarily needs to be extended to the eastbound traffic heading towards Main Street. But that's why the stop signs were put in, at least the one at Second Street, that's been put in since
Okay.
I've been here.
What about the ones on St. Mary's Road by the Marina Road?
Those have been here long before I got here, so.
That
That's
seems to
speed
get
break.
brought up about once
Yeah,
a
yeah,
year.
we've
Slow
talked about
people
that in
down.
the past.
Well, we-
It's just
So they
a
don't go
long,
flying
straight,
through there.
run.
And I've worked
I
a
live
wreck.
right there, and I like the stop signs there because it makes people slow down.
Yeah, I've worked at least two wrecks where northbound traffic have busted that intersection when it was, before the stop signs were there, it was when I worked here in 2000. And it was raining and they'd end up in the front yard there by, where Mike Boyd is living now. So, just hard to negotiate that turn coming north, on St. Mary's Road. Like you said, it's a long straight stretch and they want to get out there like a racetrack, but there again, that's the board's decision.
They're still having some wrecks with the stop sign on. One
At
down
that
at the
intersection?
Green Tree Tavern wall here a while back, and one went in the creek.
Yeah.
We must need to add a stop sign before or after, then to slow them down.
They just went through the stop sign,
Yeah.
just went through it, ended up down in there.
No, the
That's not the
taxpayers
stop
have
sign's
asked,
fault.
and you've answered it.
I'm sorry?
I said the taxpayers have asked why they're there.
Yeah, and like I said,
That's all.
I'm sure the board could certainly consider the stop sign. I just, as has been made pretty obvious with the stop sign fiasco on Main Street, it's hard to take stop signs down and put them up and take them down and put them up. I know that the one, again, especially at Second and Gabourey, on both lanes of traffic have just been put up within the last few years. I think we'd probably run some concern as far as taking down a stop sign after it's been established.
Well, most people run them.
You think?
Yeah.
I mean, most people?
Well, you know what, I've talked to a lot of people, said they didn't even realize they were there till after they run through them, so.
Maybe Eric can
Just-
remind them that they're there if he sees them.
Eric,
Yeah, they'll get a reminder.
Yeah.
A friendly reminder.
Checker flag on top of them.
Yeah.
Or your orange flag or something.
Thank you, Eric.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Green flag on one and checker on the next one.
Motion, name by motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Every buck.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
This is